So today you're probably being bombarded with laptop videos showcasing the new RTX 30 series. And look, this is all about the 3070. And instead of just talking about performance, I figured I'd compare these two laptops. You know, these both have 3070s inside of them. And if you're looking at one, you might want to consider the other because they are priced very differently, but have very similar specs. The Blade 15 base model retails for $19.99 if you get the full HD display. But this one I have here has the QHD display, which costs $21.99. This Aorus 15G has more RAM, a faster refresh rate, but doesn't have a QHD option, and yet only costs $17.99. Now straight up, the build quality is going to be better with the Blade 15. It's like this big chunky piece of CNC aluminum that just feels premium. The Aorus 15G is not bad. Like, I don't consider it poor build quality. It's definitely above Acer, and more in line with what Lenovo and HP is putting out with their gaming lineup. The only tiny, and I mean this is a super tiny complaint, is when you open up the laptop, there is a bit of wobble on the display, whereas the Razer Blade 15 just feels super solid. Port situation is good on both laptops. The Aorus 15G tends to push the ports towards the user, whereas the Blade keeps them on the back. They have a similar amount of ports, maybe slightly more with the Aorus 15G. The benefit with the 15G is that you do get that SD card slot, whereas if you want it on the Blade base model, you got to move up to the advanced or one of their creator products. I do like the fact that these ports are at the back instead of the front. It just keeps the cable management a bit cleaner when you're using the laptop. Now, if you're talking about travel and moving around, the Aorus 15G is a tiny bit lighter, not by much, but you will notice it if you pick up both laptops and you hold them. Now, the keyboard setup is interesting. You don't have per key RGB on the Blade 15 base model. You got to move up to the advanced model if you want that. You can change the key colors to whatever you want, but it is only one zone. The Aorus 15G, on the other hand, gives you more options. Like, you can really customize the colors to whatever color you want. I will say this, I'm not the biggest fan of both keyboards. I don't think they're the best out of all the other gaming laptops that are out there. I do like the travel distance better on the Aorus 15G, but I like the spacing a tiny bit more on the Blade 15. Now here's the thing. Displays in gaming laptops are the hot topic this year because you can now get QHD panels on a lot of gaming laptops that are coming out on the market. And if you can afford one, I suggest you do. Not so much for gaming, but just for a better viewing experience overall. Because let's face it, most of the time on these newer titles, you're still gonna wanna drop the settings to 1080p if you want frame rates that will match or even come close to the high refresh rate that these monitors offer. The reason you really want it is for content creation, for reading text on a web page. If you were here right now staring at this Razer panel, which is QHD, and then looking at the Aorus 15G, you would see how much nicer it is to look at overall. Now the thing is, if you do buy the QHD version of the Blade 15, it's stuck at 165 Hz, which is more than plenty. But no matter which version of the Aorus 15G you buy, it comes with a 240 Hz display. As for sound, the Blade 15 base model has the upward firing speakers, whereas the Aorus 15G has the bottom firing speakers. You guys let me know which one you think sounds better. All right, let's talk performance because that's what you're here for. And look, CPU-wise, this is $200 cheaper. You're getting 2 more cores and it just performs better than the 6-core part that's inside the Blade 15. So if you're gaming but also want to use your laptop for video editing or compiling code, you're just gonna get better results with the Aorus 15G. Now, when it comes to the GPU, things are a bit different. They are very, very equal. Even though the Aorus 15G scored higher in 3D Mark Firestrike, when it comes to actual 1080p gaming, they performed evenly. You know, sometimes the Aorus 15G was up by a frame or two, but mostly it was pretty even. And to put this in context, the 3070 is literally equivalent to last year's 2080 Super Max Q. So the performance update is not crazy massive, but it's still significant. You have to remember, these laptops can't take as much power as a desktop. You could only push them so hard. So the fact that NVIDIA or even AMD can increase the performance of these GPUs by 15 to 30% year over year without increasing the amount of power these laptops require is still a win in my books. Now, if you want to talk about thermals, the Aorus 15G definitely runs hotter. It can get up to 90 degrees, which I'm totally okay with. But you're getting better performance, you know? Like this will consistently stay at 62 watts when it's under load, and you're getting clock speeds that are around 3.3 to 3.4 gigahertz. Under the creator profile, which uses more CPU, you're still stuck at 45 watts. Razer doesn't allow their laptops to get too hot, so you're gonna see a drop in CPU performance. Fan noise, fairly equal, maybe a decibel or two louder with the Aorus 15G, but these are gaming laptops. When they are pushed, you are gonna hear the fans. Now internally, there's a few things you should know. They both have upgradable RAM to 64 gigabytes, swappable Wi-Fi cards, 2 spots for NVMe SSDs, but the Razer Blade 15 has the faster NVMe SSD installed. The big deal though is the battery life. Like this is a 99 watt-hour battery, and I was getting close to 6 hours of use before needing to charge, compared to the 65 watt-hour battery inside the Blade 15. I was only getting 2 hours and 15 minutes of use, which is really bad. Now I understand this is a gaming laptop, but a lot of you guys buy this to take to school, and if you need to be away from an outlet for a while, then the Gigabyte is going to give you more battery life. So here's the thing, and I said this in my Blade 15 base model hands-on. There should be an AMD model, you know? I understand some of these companies are still working with Intel, but there should still be the choice. Even if it sells out right away, at least consumers or customers looking at the brand know they're going in the right direction, offering them variety. And I'm sure down the road, Razer and Gigabyte will offer premium laptops with AMD CPUs. But if you're just gaming, it truly doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Intel or AMD, in fact, Intel in some ways is better because they have higher core clock speeds with some of their SKUs. But between these two laptops on the table, it's a no-brainer. The Aorus 15G just offers a lot more value for the money. You're getting 8 cores instead of 6. You're getting 32 gigabytes of RAM. Instead of 16, you're getting better battery life, and the list goes on. The only reason to get the Blade 15 is for slightly better build quality and a hinge that's a little bit stiffer. The value is just not there this year for the base model. And the funny thing is, even if you were to buy the Full HD 144 Hz version of this, which costs $19.99, for the exact same price, same specs, you can get the 3080 version of the Aorus 15G. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.